Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast. Okay, we're rolling. Sean Spalding. Spalding.
Done it again, you always do it.
Spalding. How you getting on, mate? Good to see you.
Aye, good. And I was actually thinking about this on the way up as well. Like, it's quite it's a full circle, because that means it's kind of complete. But from learning and starting out in property, this is like the first podcast I listened to when it was like the Zoom calls at COVID and all that.
Were you? Are you on them? So that was back in 2020. So that's 5 years ago when we first
He was the Zoom bomber. He was the one that was heckling us.
Camera off.
Do you remember that? That was dead weird, wasn't it?
It wasn't me heckling, but no, that was it's pretty cool. Obviously, going from trying to listen to and people talking about all these different strategies. I'm like, how do you just get like money? That's what I wanted to do, and then obviously now speaking on it.
And at what point in your life were you at then, in terms of like you working a 9 to 5 career job?
Working 9 to 5. So it was during COVID. It was working 9 to 5. I was like, where I worked, which I never really got. I kind of get now, but so I worked into like communications, and that was like deemed as, what was the word again? Like critical worker or something like that, or crucial worker. Everything get shut down apart from certain businesses. And obviously we had like broadband and mobiles and FaceTime and all that kind of thing. But I'm like, I work in sales. Surely that's no critical. I'm no like customer service or technical. I'm selling stuff. Anyway, kept open.
Critical to make money, to keep the business going.
Well, that's probably the way it is. So I could have fought for it. But you could work at home and all that, laptops and stuff sent out. So,
and that was that. Is at that point then you started getting interested in something else, and property came on the scene?
I think that's what, but everybody maybe took a wee step back, didn't they? Like, right, pause, slow down, pause. What's actually happening? I'm bored of this a wee bit, and just wanted some change. And
you came across some property training. We don't mention names on here, but
I came across a lot, including Stevens as well. No offence, I never took it, but
what was it? Tell us, what was it about Stephen? That,
do you know something? I don't know.
Podcast.
Listen to me talking it down. Negative Nick.
No, do you know? I didn't even know. I think it was his negative back then. Something's changing.
He's more negative as he gets older.
Aye, that's just old age.
Grumpy fucker. But
I don't know why. I don't know what the choice was. I think I done more research on another one. I think because it was more local as well. And then I seen like, I wouldn't want to like jump in and just go and do it. I was looking at people who were deemed to be coming out with these kind of courses, and what were they actually doing? Was it all like a facade, smokes and mirrors? And I actually went to one of the kind of two of the event kind of things, and I went to that, and there was a couple that were speaking on it, and they seemed so genuine and real, like people. That sounds pure stupid, but I went and talked to them after it, and I'm like, you are just like normal people, like from like starting from where you were to where you are now, and have done massive things since. I'm like, you are just generally normal people, being able to go and get some education and actually apply it. It's not about what you know; it's like what you do with what you know. So that was really quite relatable to you then, and then at that point, did you think, well, I can do this too? In a sense, so at times, so before all that, like I had a different variety of jobs, mostly in sales. I went to uni, had an honours degree. I've got an honours degree, never used it.
Quite a smart guy then.
No, honestly, like even like academically in school, like I stayed on the 6th year. Pretty much, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had some hires, but I probably didn't like hires when I say like, was it a B you get in C's and that, so it wasn't like brilliant. Even the honours degree was a 2-1, so it was decent, but
which uni did you go to?
Just UWS in Paisley. It was computer game technology, just like coding and computer science and stuff. So like a lot of that is quite funny, because a lot of it like analysis kind of wise and like problem solving and all these kind of skills you would learn through that actually transfers into property in a way. But I just knew I didn't want to do that full time as a kind of job. No offence to the people that were there, they weren't my kind of crowd, if that kind of makes sense. And even when I went to interviews for jobs, I'm like, I hope I don't get a reply for this. I really don't want it.
There's a sales skills applying to property and what you found as well.
100%. I think a lot of that in terms of like, it was like cold calling, working with CRMs, which I didn't even know.
You'd do well in Dubai.
I think so.
You're just back. By the way, that's what, see the estate agents out there, they basically get handed a list of phone numbers.
Crack on.
They don't get paid any salary. They're like, there you go. And 500 calls a day.
I think with that, it can be very, very monotonous, and it's just about resilience as well, because people are just going to hang up, tell you fuck off.
And is that literally how you started out, just doing the cold calling and that?
No. So I don't know if you know a place called Power League, like 5-a-side or something.
Yeah.
So when I first started uni, I worked in the bar. I got a job in the bar and uni at the same time. And that was fine. That then rolled into doing shifts during the week at the kind of front, so dealing with like the public, and then that rolled into doing like leads, inquiries, function rooms, kids parties, cold calling to join leagues and all that kind of thing. So you get a big database of like 500, 600 names of ex teams and everything else, and phone out at the blue saying new promotion, new league, new tournament, and getting them in. So that was probably the first good experience of it. Then that grew into doing a central sales hub. So again, that went through a bit of a change where everything shut during the day. Obviously before COVID wasn't there at the time, but that got shut during the day, and we looked after I think it was 6 sites in Scotland for the sales of it, and then some of it down in England as well. So again, it was just cold calling, inbound leads for function rooms, kids parties, and just knowing what you're selling to them. So I enjoyed that. I said just enjoyed being able to get the sales in, a bit of a buzz with it, and then I said step from there to working with a telecommunications company.
Right, and that was your last job?
That was the last job. So I'd done sales calls on there, then I was a sales performance coach, just helping people get better at sales basically and make more commission from their sales.
Right.
That was the last job before.
Okay, because obviously I know you quite well, and probably anybody who's on Instagram and TikTok probably know you by now, because you've been pumping out the content for a couple of years now.
Aye, most people can get my name correctly as well, to be fair, but
listen, you've knocked me back enough times to the podcast, so
I said that I was speaking to the girls outside. I was like, Nick's asked me a few times and I've said no, and obviously you're on me the two Johns call me a bastard as well. Actually,
finally got you, finally nailed down.
You built it up to go, let's get Sean on the podcast, and people are going to listen to it going, is that what we waited for? Is that all it is?
Because I know you've not actually invested in property yourself yet, have you? But
in a sense, I've done like with you, basically put like an assured sale, for example. Like you're pretty much putting some money into it, but not got a portfolio. That's part of this year's plan. But
this is what I like about you, because you've actually transitioned now out your full-time job and you've created another job for yourself in property.
Aye.
So you've totally shifted your career, and this is what I love, because I want people to hear your story, because too many people are just going out there thinking that they can just quit the 9 to 5 and just be the big time property investor and just let you do a couple of hours work on the laptop. But I want you to tell the real story about the graft and the hours that you put into it. So tell us about that. How did you make it so that you could actually quit your job? Was there a story behind that as well?
Yes and no. So when I was doing a 9 to 5, it was generally 9 to 5, and within my role, basically, it was kind of good. I could probably say this now because it's long overdue. But you get a lot of flexibility with time. So
they're not going to come after you now.
No, no. But it's one of those ones where
flexibility means skiving.
The way I looked at it, it was a sales performance coach role, and the team that I had were phenomenal. So really, I was only really busy if people were not doing their job, doing very well, and I could actually improve them. And that did happen from time to time in different promotions and everything else. So there was times we were really busy, and there was times where you could be flexible. And but most of the time it was you're still working during the day because you're on Teams and phone calls and everything else. So it was like getting up, say, I'm not an early riser, I hate getting up early, but I did get up at like say 5:30, 6, do some education learning, whether it be podcasts, whether it be YouTubes, books, whatever. Go and do work, do viewings at lunchtimes or during the day with the flexibility of time.
This is you working from home as well?
Working from home and office space, kind of blended.
Because again, there'll be a lot of people in this situation who will have a little bit of flexibility. So again, this is a good kind of blueprint to the exit out of the job sort of thing. Use it to your advantage. I'm not saying any of my staff do this, by the way, but
but if you've got the, like, for me, like, it's a 9 to 5, you're paid for the time you're working there. Yeah, okay. I didn't get paid lunch breaks, so an hour's lunch to me was my time. So if it wasn't a viewing, it was education, putting in offers, booking viewings for the evening or weekends or whatever else, doing due diligence. I'd take my laptop to work as well and go and sit in the car and use a hotspot on my phone. That's the time you're going to get to speak to agents during the day. Night time you can then do more education and doing numbers and everything else. And I've got a young family as well, so...
How many kids you got?
Now I've got 3.
Wow.
At the time I had 2, but my son lives with an ex, so
it's getting complicated. This.
I know, mate.
Stop it. Stick to the property stuff.
But I had him when I was 19, to be fair.
Oh, whoa, jeez, oh man!
Did I skip a whole section?
Aye,
there?
that's a whole different podcast in itself.
How old is then?
He's 14 now. So I'm at 33.
And I think you get mistaken recently for your son.
I were at parents' night. My Instagram story changed the captions and subtitles to penis night. So it said I went to parents' night with my son, and it looks like I said I took my son to penis night, and mate, my inbox blew up with that. Like, you've not checked it. I'm like, that's the fun part of it as well. But one of the teachers was sitting, and I went I got on with his mum. Like, it's not as if it's a bad relationship or anything, but. She sat here, I sat in the middle, and he sat to the right of us, and she turned round, and I do look a lot like my son, or he looks a lot like me actually, and he sat there, and she just kind of took a wee glance to see if we're all sitting down, and she went, oh, and she thought I was my son Leon, and she went, oh, I thought you were Leon there, and the teacher went, oh, brothers, is that his older brother, pointing to me? I'm like, I'm his dad. And she blushed so much. She's like, he's getting on brilliant.
You were like,
honestly, I'm
that is
new skincare routine
like,
kicking in.
Oh, that is awkward.
But is that kind of family side of it as well? Because you obviously see and hear stories of people that they build wealth, they build the life they want because they're doing it for their kids and everything else, but they sacrifice all that as well, and I didn't want to do that side of it and sacrifice the time with them and
so were you see at that point where you still had the job and you're putting in all the viewings and calls to agents and all the rest, that's a difficult time, wasn't it?
Aye, I think I was fortunate in the sense that one, the right partner behind me who was supportive of it as well.
It's basically she was doing all the hard work, all the real work.
Well, that's easy stuff, mate. I had two at the time, like I said, Leon stayed with his mum. I had Ruby. Ruby was very, very young, so she went to bed at like 6:30, 7. So I had between like the hours of 7 and 11:30, 12, sometimes 2 in the morning looking at deals. So I had that flexibility. But as doing that work, it's what do you need to sacrifice?
It's not sitting and watching the telly all night with the missus.
Because that's what we did during COVID. It was like what TV series or what movies can we watch? And she's a big one for watching TV series, but they still try to find that time with her as well, because that's her thing or our thing, I think. But I'm more of a movie person. I'll sit and watch a film maybe once a week or whatever. Or at the time during COVID, like on the PlayStation with the lads or whatever else, like a bit of fun. But you need to realise, well, that's not going to get you any progress to what you want to achieve. So you actually need to sacrifice something. And it doesn't need to be every single night, but the majority of those times you need to be actually spending, educating yourself, putting in offers, running due diligence, knowing your area, knowing the numbers, and where is your weak point. So for me, with no property knowledge, no refurb knowledge, no nothing, you actually just need to research things. And there's a lot more content out there than nowadays, especially, than there certainly was back during COVID, I think anyway.
So you were saying you like your movies. Do you get into an 18 at the cinema, do you?
Sometimes, mate. I actually got ID for a can of Monster one time, and she asked me, like, she come up to the wee scanner and she went, have you got ID? And I looked at what I was buying, I was like, what for? And she went, the energy drink. I'm like, right. She went, how old are you? And I went blank. I'm like, 30 something.
What age are you now?
33. I get so taken aback that I was getting IDs for a can of Monster. I do look quite young, but I'm like, she'll have like older than 25. It's a compliment, I suppose. But
so okay, so you're there, you're still putting in the hours at your day job, you're grafting away doing viewings. What was the strategy at that point? What's going through your head? Are you like, right, obviously you've been on this property course and you've learnt about...
Not yet. But I got on to it. So it was like... Because I think they were still doing the course at the time, but it wasn't, like, for me, like, mindset-wise, I've not got money to go and pay for a course that, I think it was like $6,000, 5 plus of that, I think, at the time. So I've not got the money for that. Even when I bought it, I didn't have the money for it, but it's about kind of just turning your mindset a little bit.
How'd you pay for it then?
Credit card. I'll be honest with people and say that, like, by interest-free credit card, because in my head, I looked at it with the strategy that I wanted to do, which was deal sourcing, and go, right, okay, that's 1 or 2 deals, and that's paid off.
Cleared
it's interest free. Can I afford the repayment or the servicing of that credit card every month, which I think at the time was 1%. So it's 50 quid a month or something like that. Can I afford 50 quid? And then see if you're thinking to yourself, I can't afford it, then
property's not moving for you.
Either that or what you're spending on right now that you don't have to spend. Go out 1 weekend less a week.
It's a coffee.
Like, take 1 less takeaway a week.
See, at that point, I want to talk about that, because, like, see, at that point where you make that decision to put $6,000 on a credit card. Let's take a quick break, guys, from today's show to talk about selling your property with Prime Property Auctions. Now, myself and Stephen have both used John and Lewis from Prime in the past, and we can personally vouch for their service. They sell vacant and tenanted property, and you get to control the minimum reserve price so that you're not selling your property for peanuts. They pay for all the stuff like photos, videos, and all the marketing stuff up front, so you're not paying anything from the start, and it's a no sale, no fee. So if you want to check out Prime Property Auctions, then get across to the link on the show notes and speak to the guys. Did you tell the missus?
She never actually found out until she annoyed me a little bit with it, because I was not that I was trying to keep it a secret, but I said to her, like, I went and done this course, it's a big investment, but I can pay it. Like, I know I've got the payment there, I've got the 9 to 5 job paying for it, it's fine, I'm not worried. And then it got to the point where the job had been paid off, and then she's like, how much was that anyway? I'm like, I'm not telling you, because you'll gaff your nut. And then she was trying to like sign up to the course almost in a way, like get so far to see what the price was. I seen it on their website and stuff like that. I'm not going to tell you. And eventually I just showed her the receipt. She was fine with that. Eventually she was like, you spent fucking what on that?
I know obviously you're one of the success stories, right? Because you've been invited along as the poster boy and all the rest of it. So I know that, and seeing what you do now, and I'm obviously around your projects, because we've got clients that work, same clients and stuff like that. But what about all the people that paid that $6,000 the credit card that haven't come out and done anything with it? Do you ever speak to them, or like, because there must be a lot of them, right?
I think like, there's a lot of people
what do you see in people
buy courses, and you probably see the same, Stephen, that buy course thinking they can buy the knowledge that then buys them the deals. And what I mean by that is they come out the course going, right, they're walking to estate agents and they're going to go, you're exactly what I've been waiting for. Another person to come off a course, and they maybe don't understand. You've learned. You're then going to apply your learning. It's not going to be a case of like I seen somebody spend. Honestly, I try to calculate it, and I might be off, but I'll be in the vicinity of the right number. But honestly, nearly 50 grand. And this is a guy who's got money to burn. Like, you can tell he just like really, really nice car and really good job. He's just throwing money at it, thinking that if you throw money at something, you would eventually get the result on it without actually going out and applying the actual work ethic of it. So it gets back to what I said earlier, it's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know.
It's crazy that though, isn't it, that people have that mindset that they can just buy, like they buy success sort of thing.
By the result.
Well, I mean, they've already obviously had an element of success, because maybe
in their day job, aye. But they think in property.
You think they'd apply that learning in their day job? They didn't just buy the success in their day job. They probably had to go and work hard for it.
Went to uni and everything else with it. Aye,
so it's the same principle apply, surely.
But,
what about those young folk as well? You see a lot of young folk that are getting into debt.
They're the one that maybe frustrate me a little bit more. I wouldn't say annoy, but frustrate me, because go back to what I've just said there: working, family, sacrificing time. And I remember speaking to a young guy. He must have been about at the time 21, 22. And then he got an inheritance, and that's how he paid for his course. And every time I spoke to him, he's like, I'm waiting for my website getting built. Okay. I'm waiting for this to happen, or I'm doing it, I'm too busy. That frustrated me. You're too busy.
A 22-year-old.
You live at home, you've no mortgage, you've no kids. Just talking to your pals 3 times a week and put some work in.
Yeah.
Like that really frustrates me.
We went out to Dubai, right? And we were amazed, because obviously, like, part of the reason we went out was like, why are we losing all these like young entrepreneurial minded people, and they're flocking out there by the hundreds of thousands, right? So we visited an estate agency office and all that, and we saw obviously there was like 400 agents, like all young, all hungry, it's all commission basis and all the rest of it. But then we looked up the stats, and we actually realised that I think it was like 87% of agents that go out, a really high number, go out there and they fail in their first year, right? So obviously they kind of buy into the dream.
Why do you think that is? I mean, quite a high number.
Work ethic, maybe they don't have
expect them to go out there. I think a lot of people go to Australia used to be the big thing. When I'm going to go to Australia and get away from everything, but you're still taking you with you. So it's your mentality, your work ethic.
Obviously, you have to have an element of skill as well. Like with sales, you know yourself, it's just all about people and the way that you can speak to people, Some of these young people are fresh out of school, they've literally got no life experience.
I was going to say that kind of life experience. It doesn't make a break. Obviously, you still can pick up sales skills, but if you're going to yourself, right, I don't have the same sort of life experience that maybe older people do. I say older, like more experienced people do, maybe 10 years in front of me, then go and get sales experience. Go and work in go and work for 6 months in a cold calling agency and see how tough it is to get told no every. Like I think when we used to do it, was like you're going to get 100 calls through and you need one person to say yes. You get 99 people to say no to you. That's a lot of no's.
It's framing that. That's framing that mindset, isn't it? Like I had a guy on the 2 days at the weekend there, and he was door-to-door sales, Chapman doors, and I was like, "What are you selling? Roofing products?" He goes, "It was basically shutting down. I didn't have the skill set. I didn't have anything. I'm working in property." And when he said that, I says the same thing as you said. I goes, "That was what looked like the ideal client that was making something successful in Dubai with real estate, because you're chapping the doors, you're selling, and he's only 22, 23. I goes, you're in the ideal position. That job you're doing is setting you up and giving you resilience to take no's, handle people objections, something that fucking, well, I won't be good at, but you're getting that skill set straight away." And then he says, "Well, what are you selling?" He says, "Roofing products." And what's the reason why? Because I'll frame anything fucking in a positive light, and unlike negative Nick here. I says, what are you selling? Roofing products. And what's the common objection? Oh, they're a way to sell. So what the fuck are you going to ask when they say, well, we're going to sell a house soon? Oh, are you?
Aye.
I can buy it. We can, I know someone that can buy it. You can become a sorcerer by doing your day job. You're chapping the door. Anyone says fucking that, write their name down, go and chap the door at night when you finish your job, or put a letter through the door. Like, it was like, and as soon as I framed the mindset, it was like, holy, you just seen this light bulb open this young guy's head. I'm like,
I spoke to a young boy yesterday actually, and kind of similar. He was like, I phoned him up, and I'm trying to, I think he does sourcing as well, and I phoned him up. He's got leads through, he's also doing really good with his marketing, and he phones him up, and because they say no to his offer, he just goes, right, okay. I'm like, right, okay, what? Like, why they saying no? They're wanting too much because their house is actually immaculate and probably deserves to go in the market. Then refer it to an estate agent. They don't know what to do with it. They need a fast sale, and it's not the worst condition, it's not the best condition, but they still need money very quickly. Go to auction and say to them, can you get it sold in 30 days and get a half decent price for it, a fair price for it. Like, you need to understand it's more than just your first option of saying yes or no. Just build down the other options, and yeah, you might not get the full amount of what you maybe want to do, but it's something to monetize that lead.
How many people were in that group that you went into at the start on that course?
So when you go, you get like some reattendees as well.
Aye.
I do remember calculating. I try to calculate like how much he's made for this day. And go, like, he does it twice a month. And
that's what I should be getting into.
So I think when I calculated at the time, and bear in mind this a number of years ago, but I think it was about 40
people,
40 to 50.
Right. So
I think about maybe 6 or 7 of them were about reattendees.
Right, and how many of them do you think are now making a full-time living, or have quit the job, and that are making a full-time go of it in property?
So the reattendees, from the ones that I remember that were there, are doing it. If I was to put a percentage on it, I have no idea. Maybe half is maybe a lot actually, but I don't know.
Out of 40.
I'm trying to remember some of the faces that were there.
Because you're part of the 12-month thing, so you obviously see them over the space of a year.
I don't see as many on the first one that's still there now, but it's not to say they're not there. They might have went and joined different networks and different communities and doing other things that. Got to bear in mind, like, even though it's a Glasgow based one, there's people that come from like Aberdeen and down south and everything else, so I might never connect with them ever again, but I might meet them at different events, so it's very hard
and
to
you
say.
Don't know what investments they're doing on, not everybody's going to be like a full-time property sourcer, or
well, some people actually probably go, and you maybe see this as well, they go, I want to do all this, and they go, well, that's a lot of work actually. Do I just give my money to somebody else and I'll take a return, or whatever, or do a JV with somebody and you can just handle everything else. So just because they're not physically doing it doesn't mean they're not involved in kind of some way. So that's why it's
difficult.
Because I know, for example, I done the kind of reattend, because you get like 12 months and then you get to reattend like a reduction of what you paid, obviously. And I think that actual reattendance is good in a way for networking. That's the only way I've seen it, is networking. Like, I don't think I'm going to learn much more.
Coming in,
but you go as a reattendee, people kind of gravitate towards you as well. The kind of newer people, and you can have that conversations and maybe pick up some relationships as well. And I do know 2 that were on the reattendance that I've done. They are not doing like physically going out sourcing or buying, but they're investing. Do you know what I mean? They're doing JVs and stuff like that.
Cool.
So.
Now, aside from that, then your own personal success, I want to talk about now. So, like, if somebody comes up to you now, you were at a party there with Mark Shanta the other week, and if somebody says, what is it you do? What do you tell them now? What is it you do?
Property portfolio building service, which is hands off, find the property and putting it through the renovation.
Right, okay.
And the big, like, I've got an investor who's referred about 3 or 4 clients to me, and he's already had a couple of buy-to-lets, and he's just such a smart guy, by the way, but he's always all over the country doing for his work. And he's like, I've been on holiday, speak to trades, I'm putting through a buy-to-let, I'm trying to do the kitchen and it's not going right, I'm trying to organise all this, and it's more stress than I think it's worth at times. And then he used our service where found a property, he bought it, we put it through renovation, we put the key box up. I said, look, go and visit the property whenever you want. He went with his family at the weekends. We went on holiday, came back, it was all done, handed it to a letting agent. He's like, that was a piece of piss compared to what I'm used to. So what I've kind of said to people about sourcing, it's not that we know more, it's we just have the time to go and do it. It's a convenience you're paying for.
Yeah, you're paying for somebody's time to
something
go.
You're paying for their knowledge. Like, I actually remember meeting a first time investor at one of the networking events, and got me his first buy-to-let, and it was more about that, with the knowledge and the time as well. And like I say, it's not because we know more than you, it's just we have that time and the convenience to go and do it. And I suppose there is that networking side. Like, we network with our sourcers, we do our own advertising, we've got time to build the relationship with agents as well, letting agents as well, so there's a bit of that as well, but most of the time it's just down to convenience, what you're paying for by a sourcing fee.
It's fast tracking that as well, like you say, it would take them months and months and years possibly to build up the relationship with the estate agent and letting agent. You've already done it, so
you don't have, it goes back to
work.
that 9 to 5, doesn't it? Like, if I'm doing the 9 to 5, I've not got time to go and speak to agents all the time. Like, during my depending on like kind of job that I probably could have during my work, but the people that I'm speaking about who want to build that portfolio, they've got the money there, or maybe it's a business profits they've got, or inheritance, or whatever else. They just physically don't have that time to go and build the relationships, the knowledge to go and run a marketing campaign that's on for paid leads, and maybe don't want to throw money at it and waste money. And yeah, it's just that time convenience as well. Like, having to learn how to market as well was a big thing.
So what are the big warning signs then for, like, when you're taking on new clients and investors and all that? Like, what are the kind of initial messages that you get where you're like, no, this one's not for me, this guy's not for me, or this?
I think see at the start, that's a really good question, because see at the start, when you're looking at getting clients, you kind of want to take on everybody. You're like, yes, I've got a client. And I learned the hard way going, you're just a fucking tyre kicker. You're never going to buy it. And
what would merit a tyre kicker? Can you give us examples?
Send them a deal that they asked for and no buying it.
And it's like some excuse.
So now I've got a kind of framework where I kind of pre-qualify them to say, like, are you a tyre kicker or not? So it's just 3 simple questions of, like, why did you reach out to me in the first place? So why are you reaching out to a sourcer, or me specifically? You must have seen something of how I can help you, or a sourcer can help you. If a deal came to your desk right now and it fitted 70 to 8% of your criteria, would you buy it? Are you ready to go? And how much capital have you got set aside? Because I've had people come to me, I've got 10 grand, can I start? No. Go and invest in that, go and do trading, go and, fund somebody's refurb or whatever and get a return and build it up, whatever. So make sure, like, you know your area, what people can buy in that area for it as well is a big one. Because if somebody's coming to you going, I want to buy a 120k house and I've got 30 grand, you're not going to get that then. Time you pay now, you pay like stamp and deposit, sourcing fee, refurb, legals.
And do you remember the first deal that you did and how you got that first client?
So the first full deal that went through actually took me about 5 or 6 months to get, and that was like not through lack of trying. I'd done a few referrals, deals fell through. I spoke with this on with Stephen as well, like McAvney, saying about the first deal that I got from an agent. I was like, yes. Coming out the course, yes, I've got an agent here, send me a deal. It was shit, it was tenanted, I hadn't viewed it, I'd done a lock-out agreement without seeing it, it was non-standard, oh mate, it was brutal. I was like, shit, right, take a step back, remember what you learned and take your time with it. You get too excited in that first one. So when the first one eventually came through, and this goes back to the kind of life experience thing, the first one that came through, I'll not divulge the information, but she was in a horrible situation. And this is where people forget.
Seller.
This is where people forget. These are people in situations that need your help. So see if you're promising, I'll buy your house in 2 days, that's not going to work. Like, people are buying from people. And she had 4 people come view it, and I wasn't even the highest offer for her, but she trusted me to go and sell it. And I went to school in that area. I actually went to school with her son, which I didn't actually realise until we were kind of talking. I went, oh, that's a bit weird. But she bought into me being able to, that trust element of it as well. Taking her through it, like I say, the situation was very, very shitty.
Do you think she could have been quite vulnerable at that point? And do you think there could have been, if she'd fallen into the wrong hands,
100%,
i.e. one of these other, property sources, like there's loads of them,
Yeah.
and buy your house for
100%.
cash.
Yeah, I think she was still going to get the place sold, and she probably wouldn't have got as much as I was able to get her. And I mean, the house went through, for the first one that I'd done, it was like 20, I think it ended up like 23 or 24 grand for your first renovation, like installing gas central heating. And I look back and going, fuck me, I done quite a lot in my first one. But she could have been involved in one of those, we'll sell your house in 7 days.
Yeah.
I've got to buy it.
How do you set out the boundaries for yourself on those ones where you know that potentially you could easily like rip the arse out of this one, but in your own head, where'd you set the boundary? You know, to it being a good deal and a good outcome for the seller.
I think is for me, your reputation is really like prominent. So if I go and do that and rip her off, because you see it all the time, like even if you look at the math just now, you get the same people saying they give you peanuts and they rip you off and they offer you 40% below value and all that kind of thing. And for me, it's more just about, you've got a problem, I'll find you a solution. So that problem may be that you need to sell quicker, so you know you're not going to get a home report. Your problem might just be, I've no idea what the fuck I'm doing to sell a house here, and I'm just giving you advice going, actually, I could get an offer, and here's how it sell, and it go through quickly, and you'd avoid, home reports and all the rest of it. But if you wanted to people to compete and get a higher value, you better go in the market. And I've dealt with those kind of people as well, where they just don't have, a pot to piss in, essentially. They can't afford a home report, they're in debt, whatever else. And I've helped people like that as well by taking it to market for them and paying for all that and stuff. So that's, for me, it's just about providing that solution for somebody else. Because if I was in that situation, I'd want somebody on the other side of it to be giving me the right support and not being a snake about it and not trying to be underhanded. And at the same time, you still want to give your investor a good deal. Do you know what I mean? So you're trying to find that kind of balance. So
do you charge back-end mandates when you do your deals like that? Mm-hmm. And you're upfront with the seller?
Mm-hmm. So that's the.
Can you explain that? Because I just for listeners, some won't be aware of what a back-end mandate is.
So if you're, get the number simple, agree a price with the seller at 50 and you sell it at 55, just to keep it round, but probably not as high as that, but 55, legals will come off for that, home reports will come off for that, all the kind of fees. So they would still get their 50, and then you would pay for all the legals in between that, and then if there's a profit in between that, then you would get that.
Right, and everybody knows.
I mean, I think
the arrangement.
So the contracts that are signed.
Then you
the seller signed the contract.
You tell the buyer that it's 55.
So you tell the buyer it's 55, aye.
And you charge the buyer a fee as well.
A sourcing fee, aye.
Yeah.
So that kind of mandate in between to pay for like legal fees and reports and surveys and that get done. Sometimes there'll be a repair needing done as well.
Always hear massive mandate fees, and I always say on the fence with it. I just don't. Morally, I don't see how you can act for the seller and the buyer and morally give them the right service, because you're trying to get a decent discount for the buyer, but you're trying to get a decent price for the seller.
I think people try and kill it with a man. I've seen some stories lately on social media, like 10, 15 grand mandates. I'm like, that's just wild.
We had one
that's where that in effect. That's where the sellers
you can only do as well. Like most people will sign off. Because bear in mind, to get a mandate through, what essentially happens is the seller needs to sign that contract. A mandate's just an invoice. It's just a savings invoice essentially. Within that margin is what will pay for all those things that I just said. Once the seller signs it, and it's all written out on the contract of what it's going towards. Whenever the buyer then transfers the 55 in that example, it goes to the seller solicitor. They then take off all those other fees and then hand the rest to the seller in that example. So everybody knows, because through solicitor, it's not like backhanded on the hand 5Ks or anything like that. It's all above board. Yeah. And the estate agents need to look at it as solicitors need to look at it as well and agree to doing that. So when you go and sell your house with an estate agent, you are doing a back-end mandate essentially, or your invoice or whatever for their fees. Some of them now also have buyer's premiums, which is pretty much like a sourcing fee if you look at it that way. So pretty modern. I say there's people who kill it.
I get what you're saying though, Stephen. That's the problem, because it's like you've got bills to pay. You've got 3 kids, so you're trying to obviously squeeze a bit out of the deal as well. But it's about how far you go.
Push it.
And then it becomes like, well, how can you be acting on the best interests of the seller if you're...
Does the seller know that you're charging a sourcing fee to the buyer as well?
So the seller... They've never really asked, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's really confidence, because all we're really saying is, are you happy with that fee and you're getting for your property essentially? Everybody needs to be happy, right?
Like you say, your reputation.
I think what I look at is that like people that have seen do a back-end mandate is they're selling it to the seller off the property that we're charging it back at this mandate, because we needed our fee basically, but then they don't actually say, well, who's the buyer? Or the buyer's paying you a fee as well.
Still
And if
getting
that was
a fee.
actually honestly, the seller would go, well, actually, can I get that £5,000 more for my house because you're still getting a £5,000 fee as a sourcing fee. And I always see like the sellers coming up, or the seller's getting less, and the buyer's still paying a fee. And I always kind of just sits a wee bit on my moral compass is how can you do the best for the seller and the buyer at the same time.
I think it's how it's framed as well. So if you're kind of saying, "Oh, just sign this," and the buyer's going to pay for it, it's not quite accurate, is it?
Yeah.
If you say, "Look, this is what's going to happen: is you'll get what you've agreed, so we'll guarantee you get this." This in the middle is to pay for everything else, so your legals, your home report if you need it, everything else I've just mentioned. If something needs repaired during that whole process, we'll cover that within there as well. And also we've charging that investor a fee to sell it. Like I said, everybody needs to be happy. They need to be happy.
If it's transparent and everybody knows what they're getting involved in, and I mean the auction companies do it, right? They do.
That's what I mean.
They charge a buyer's
premium
and then and the seller pays as well.
As well, the investor needs to be happy with the deal as well. So if they say, yeah, 55 fits a criteria in every kind of margin, then it worked for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, and especially when people try, I think it's really important now, especially with 8%. Like, that can really kill a deal. If you go from like 55 to 65, it's not just 10 grand of a purchase price. You're actually adding that extra fucking 8% with the ADS up as well. So I wouldn't be like smashing 10, 15k man. That for me is immoral. But
you obviously, like, I mean, you've got to make it work for yourself as well, because sometimes, you know yourself, it took you 6 months or something like that to get the first. It can be a long process sometimes, because you're talking about, you know, recently you were working on a seller and I don't know, it was like the family you were dealing with maybe, and then it was back and forth, and all the other ones, siblings were involved and all the rest of it, so it can be a long process, and you're following up, working on it, trying to get it through. So you've got to be rewarded for your time.
It's a lot of time getting into it as well. Do you know what I mean? Especially with the leads that come through, because eventually, for me, I always say I'm working on behalf of the investor to find the lead, and then I'm working on behalf of the seller to get them sold. So you are trying to appease both parties, but the amount of time you're putting into finding the deal through the marketing, doing the calls, doing the viewings, make sure the numbers work correctly. I know there's obviously like WhatsApp groups and mailing lists, but I'll just do it as a kind of one-to-one basis. So I've not got those. I don't want those big
We're
groups either.
specifically talking here about mainly off-market leads, aren't we? Where you're dealing direct with the vendor
on market anyway, because the stage
totally. So just on that, then, would you sometimes go out and offer different, you know, solutions? Like if you know, what other exits or solutions would you offer to the seller then?
I think it depends on, so if I was looking at a property saying, do you know what, I want to look at getting a flip, for example, I'd look at it, buying it, numbers back from what it would be done up, do the refurb, come back, couple of fees, margin, this is where the purchase price would suit for a flip. Doesn't work there, but they need 10k more. I'm just going to run through all the other strategies, like could I do an assisted sale with them, could I do an assured sale with them, could I do taking it to market for them, like you're going through every kind of possible option for them to give them the right solution for them, because there's no kind of one kind of rule fits everybody. Do you know what I mean? And that goes back to that young lad going, oh, it doesn't suit you, right, okay, next one and next one and next one. So you still need to go out and understand their issue. Again, it's solution based selling in my opinion. You get out to find out what their problem is, not just a problem in terms of why they look to sell, but how quickly they need to sell, and then some kind of financial trouble that does need a quicker sale. So maybe going to market isn't right for them, and you want to explain that, like you're going to be a bit longer on the market.
Yeah, because most people that are not clued up on the different strategies would just say, well, why wouldn't they just go to an estate agent? But you've just explained
and I'm happy to explain it to people, like if we can't do it for you, I'll give you the best advice I possibly can, of which I think the best option would be. And if I think it's going to somebody like Prime, for example, I'll give it, and I've done loads with Prime. And well,
obviously, because they always invite you along in their hospitality at the rugby and all that, isn't it? Or the charity dinners. The last one with the charity, that was messy, man. But again, that's just building good relationships with proper people in the industry as well. So whether it's like I've got clients needing a letting agent, I refer a few to you as well, and it's about knowing. You've got the check, didn't you? You got the check for that one.
Aye.
You're still doing checks, old man.
Oh no, the checkbook ran out. It's cash away.
But like I say, I hate the phrase that power team thing, but you're basically trying to build these people around about you who, okay, it's not going to suit you, your investor, whatever else. Have you got somebody that you trust as well? Not just like, oh, I'll get it to whatever estate agent, because I know they're local, like, have you actually built a relationship with them and know they'll treat that client well as also? Do you know what I mean? You're not just pass it off to somebody that you don't.
What other kind of relationships have you kind of looked at now and go, right, I've worked hard at that and that's a really good one, that's been a fruitful relationship, likes the one with Prime, and has there been any other ones, you know, surveyors, agents, any other kind of key?
Not specific surveyors or anything like that, but that is probably as one to time with, especially if you're doing like your own projects for like flips, for example. Like, you'd want to get them out, survey it, keep them on board, get them back out, treat them nice to get the value you want. But for me, I think it's, from the sourcing side of things anyway, it's more just about building that relationship with the exit options.
How much your leads then come from like off market and kind of on market? What would you say it's like?
Most
50-50
I've got a percentage.
Not
but
exact
for example, I'll give you a good example. Like my last campaign, which I stopped in December, because I think
this is Facebook ads we're talking about.
Facebook ads, sorry. I don't do Google pay per click or anything like that. Like I think Jack was on, he was speaking about that. That's mega expensive. But so I was running at £26 a lead or something like that.
Which seems, is that not quite a lot? No, not when you're making $3,000 out of it.
When you're selling, it's about your tickets. It's a high ticket item you're selling, isn't it? So if I was selling like a home report, like £500 or whatever, then it's maybe not great. But for £26, I'm getting somebody's data to phone them and potentially help them.
And what sort of response do you get from these calls?
Mixed.
Have you got any good ones? Any good?
I just fuck off. Didn't put my details
you
in.
filled out the details.
I find that weird with the flipping meta ads as well. Like, you're just like, what? I don't know what I filled out. You're like, is this shite? This is fake.
The thing I've kind of learned with that, and I hope it's correctly, but you've got to remember on Facebook, if you're doing it on, so you can obviously take people to a website or a landing page to fill out their forum, which is a bit more of a hurdle for them to jump over. So they should be more quality leads. Doesn't mean you're going to convert them, but there should be more quality people. Whereas on Facebook, when they click on it, remember Facebook's got all your details anyway, so it auto-populates. So somebody might just go, or press a button and then they're through and they're submitting, oh shit, I didn't mean that.
Right.
So what I did do that at the beginning, I was like, fucking yes man, £10 a lead. All these leads coming through, nothing. But if you do like an actual forum and put some wee hurdles, like 3 or 4 questions in there just to like drop down, so that they know they're clicking to make sure they're going through it all.
Property type and
property type, how many bedrooms, like how quickly do you need to sell, like which things like that. So you've got a wee bit of information. They kind of jump through a few hoops and then you get the lead through.
And when you get them on the phone, then what's your script? Because you're obviously good at this, coming from your background in sales. So what's your kind of way to kind of, because you know what it's like sometimes they're quick off the phone. You know, they're just, nah, see you later. So how do you keep them engaged?
The script is, it's $497 if you want to buy the script. It's always under a 7. Do you know, I'm not a big fan of scripts. Even when
I don't mean script. I don't mean you're sitting there reading the sheet, but I mean, like, what would you say to people? Is it just a natural? You try to get into the conversation just naturally. You just try
to get your foot in the door, aren't you? They gave you the leads, and you also got like, it's quite a hot lead when it comes through because they've filled in the details, so they're interested.
Just pretend I've filled out your Facebook form.
Live sales,
right. Come on, this is what you pay good money for, guys, and Sean's going to give it to you all. Right?
So just hello, hi Nick, it's Sean at Quick Home Sales.
No, I can't remember filling out in Facebook. Facebook? No, I don't even use Facebook. What are you talking about?
Generally, you want to get in there straight away. The kind of structure would just be like, hi, it's whatever your name is, at what company. I wouldn't go down the route of, hi, is that Nick? Just go, hi Nick, it's Sean from Quick Home Sales. To give you a quick call, you filled in details about selling your property. Yeah. It's now a bad time to chat.
Aye, terrible, mate.
It's just how you phrase it. So
right, so you've kept them on
things in there. Like getting to that first no is really important, and asking about that, is now a bad time to chat? And they say, no, it's fine. It gives them that bit of control and peace of mind that they're in control of the conversation, all psychological stuff.
This is good. Keep going.
So you're in there saying, like, no, they're a bit more at ease. Right, cool, did fill in the forum. Cool. And then just find out the situation. So I've just basically got a list of things that I need to find out that they're not filled in. So firstly, the full address, you can ask for that straight away on the forum. So, is the postcode in? I've got a wee bit that puts a postcode in. Sometimes it'll be like G4, sometimes it'll be like G67, or it'll be like a full postcode. I'll say, all right, so you're in like, I don't know, it'll be the new Wishaw, for example. All right, cool. What's the street name? What's the house number? And I'm on Rightmove as well, just to see if they got it on the market. What's the kind of recent sales prices just now? Like just quickly gauging it.
While on the call.
On the call, aye. So you don't want to say like take away your distraction from the call, but you also want to if they say, oh, I want 150 grand, and you can see they're all on for about 70 or 80, you're like, right, cool, there's a big gap here.
So that's a red flag straight away?
No, really, it just means where they get the figure from, that's what you ask them as well. So I'm just saying, like, what's the situation, what's the story, like, tell me what's happening just now.
Try and get a bit background.
Talk. Got to bear in mind, we're a conversation on the sales side of things. If you're talking 8% of the time, then you're doing the wrong thing. You should be listening.
That's a great tip.
So
I'm terrible at that.
They need to be the ones giving you all the information. You're just prodding them with questions, like open-ended questions, like stick away from the kind of yes, no. Oh, so you're looking to sell? Yes. Looking to sell quickly? Yeah. No. Keep it very open-minded, open questions as well, like what's the situation just now? Ask about the property condition, and just straight up ask them what they're looking for. Like, what do you need for the
see what
property?
I'm really bad for, right? Again, it's like talking over folk like that, right? But I hate silence, right? I hate awkward silences. I know this is what you're going to tell me, right? But I'll always fill a silence and jump in there with some absolute pointless,
the perfect guy to negotiate with,
bit of conversation. But tell us how you tease things out, and what you're saying, silence is great. So it's just about just letting them come back to you.
he's going to fill it again.
Speak. I can't stand silence.
See the on the phone is brilliant. If you're in person, you might struggle, but see for somebody like you, if you're doing a sales call, for example, the only thing I tell you is firstly shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And put yourself on mute. Your phone's got a mute button. Just hit mute. If you think you're going to talk, hit mute, and then just talk to yourself out loud until they come back. It should feel uncomfortable. It should feel a bit like thingy. And then if they turn around and go, hello, you've done the right thing, because I'm just saying, like, are you looking for 39.99, like whatever it may be. So like you want to get them to give that response in the silence, and there's other wee techniques you can use as well.
And listening skills as well. That's something I'm really bad for. It's like I should be getting better now. We're 300
did our podcast for like 5 million years.
300 episodes in, and sometimes I think I'm still not listening to what you're saying.
I think a way for them, because obviously when you're on the phone, you don't have body language, right? So when you're speaking face to face, you have body language, eye contact, your hand movements, the way your feet are. Like, I love all the psychology behind it. But
that's brilliant.
So what your body language is, like your hands in your pocket, you folded, whatever else, all that gives them a kind of feeling and a vibe that when you're in person. But when you're on the phone, all you've got is your voice,
the tone,
your tone.
Any
how
tips?
Fast you're going.
Any tips for the follow up then? If you're getting
to make sure you follow up,
that's how most people fall down, isn't it?
Like the key is in a follow up as well. I referred the lead, but I referred the lead Prime from October, and I've just signed it up there because it was just constant follow up. And that was Prime that followed up every week or month or whatever, and that was down to them doing their follow up. That's a really good example. Another one I referred it to an estate agent because that was bound for a estate agency. She was July last year. Every month, well, it was every week, and every month, and every 2 months, and then eventually she phoned me last week or something, saying I'm ready to go now. Do you know what I mean? That's okay. It's only a referral, but it's constantly following up on that.
Do you use systems for that or anything?
Mate, I just use Excel and calendars and Trello, and just making sure you're doing the follow up. Like until somebody actually tells you fuck off and delete the number, I'm going to keep phoning you until
you're like basically
not a pestering way, obviously, but
harassment.
There's that point where it's harassment. You need to understand it's not every day, it's not every week. Some people say like phone 3 times a day every day. Like that to me is too much. That is stalking behaviour. But if you phone a lead, for example, like say I had it before where they've literally filled in the lead, I've seen it come through, I phoned them, they never answered. I'm like, your phone's literally in your hand, like how can you not answer the phone call? So then just leave a voicemail, hi, it's Sean, whatever, just try to call you there about filling your forms, about selling your property. I'll give you a call back today at 1 o'clock. Put in your phone at 1 o'clock and phone them. Like, follow up on your word as well. Like if you're going to say you're going to phone them at 1, you can preempt it with a wee text. Hi, it's Sean from Quick Home Sales. I'm going to give you a call as scheduled. Like everything you can possibly do to warm up that person again and make sure they're going to answer the phone is so important. So that's texts, it's calls, it's voicemails, it's emails. So I constantly follow up.
That's gold right there. Thanks for sharing that. 495, 497.
497. I'll get a discount if you put hashtag SPP.
Facebook ads, how did you navigate through the world of that? Because a lot of sources will kick off and rightly so, there is deals in the market, but I think the sources that are worth their salt are the ones that figure out marketing strategies and get the leads off market.
So I used to run and operate a poker league. I love poker. I used to love poker. I still do love poker, but I don't have enough time for it now. But
on the sacrifices.
Yeah, that was one of the big ones. I stepped away from doing all that just before COVID, so it kind of came at a good time. But we ran ads for like venues, and that's probably where the sales side comes in. The psychology, like poker's got a lot that kind of really resemblance to it. But we ran ads, and that's kind of where we had money in the bank account for it, and I was kind of testing it a wee bit. I have a fucking clue what I was doing, watching YouTube clips again. But I kind of understood the kind of format, so like AIDA, like attention, information, desire, call to action, that kind of thing. So I knew I understood the frameworks and stuff, and what got people to respond. That account got hacked actually, and it was running like porn ads and all that. It was weird. So that ad account got shut down. I didn't care about it. Then came property, and I thought, right, I need to like market. So I got back up and running again, and obviously the landscape of marketing can change within like a week or a month, never mind, what was that, 4 or 5 years maybe. So I just went on things like YouTube, podcasts, again, the audiobooks, the Alex Emoji thing was massive, wasn't it, as well? But I still understood the core structure of, you've got a structure to your copy, so what you're writing on the actual ad itself, so grab some of their attention, video clips, obviously with things like TikTok coming into play as well, where people are just constantly scrolling. You need some, I kind of realised and read as well that you need to have that scroll stopping image or video, whether it be, you see the ones now, it's like somebody's about to hit a car. I think you've done a couple, you like hit a car and then you jump in the screen instead. And
he's climbing up trees now. He's got that desperate.
But the things are like, you've got like 3 seconds to grab some attention on the video, do you know what I mean? So if your video's like, hi, I'm Sean and I can buy your house, see you later. But if you're something like really quick, like we can buy your house in whatever, 7 days, 8 days, whatever it may be, you're trying to do, not 7, 8 days, that kind of happen, but do you know what I mean? And you're grabbing somebody's attention. That for me was the way to do it. And I was just using like bright fluorescent, like pink and orange and red backgrounds with sell your property. Because if you're scrolling through and you see something big red on your screen, you're like, what the fuck is that? And then it catch your attention. But see, even if you don't, like if I didn't know anywhere to look at all, then probably the biggest tip I would say to somebody is go onto your meta ad library, or go onto anybody you see running ads in your environment. So be it be I think of somebody like, just say Prime for example, sorry John, but
it's alright,
you can,
we like giving Prime
don't want to say this, but you can go to anybody's, Steve's for example, you want to try doing online coaching, you go onto their Facebook page, go to about page transparency, see ads, and you can see all the ads they're running. If you look at all their images and videos and go, why is that catching my attention? Like, what about that catches my attention? And just like replicate what somebody at the top of their game's doing. It's just copying and pasting. It's not stealing. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's get the same as sell your home and all
Nothing's
that.
Original.
And then look at the copy of it. Don't copy it word for word. Put that, shove it in ChatGPT if you want to, if you're struggling, and then just make sure it sounds human and sounds like you. Because there's no point in having an ad that doesn't sound like you. And you go and speak to the seller or whatever, and you're like, hold on a minute, it's different feel to it. So
do you turn your ads on and off, like just, or do you, are you consistent?
I let them run. So the last one I ran from June to December, I only turned it off at December because of Christmas time, just
because of like the money side of things.
And that was the example I was going to give earlier actually, before you cut me off. Was I started ads last week and they've fucking died in its arse. I've not had one lead through in 5
How much
days.
would you spend on that?
Before it was £1,000 a month.
Right.
See, when I first started, mate, I was doing 30 quid. Right, started at 30, 50 quid. I wanted to learn. Okay, I've created a campaign. Has it worked? Have I got a lead through? What's the lead quality like? Like, start off really, really small. See if you do have a big budget, fair play. Just don't go and spend it all in the one campaign until you really learn, or get somebody else in. Like, it was a Jack Cullen, a marketing agency who knows what they're doing, and you want to do that. But I still say, even if you are going to go down that route, you're not going to have that.
The money.
But even if you did, I still wouldn't go right into the agency, because they could actually just rip you. Do you know what I mean? You understand the foundations and the core of the campaign as well, to make sure they're giving you the right data and what, because you need to feed them the information as well, and the copy and images.
So what's happened with this latest flop then?
I redone it 2 nights ago.
So just Tuesday, nothing generating, or just crap just coming in?
They were generating, they were on there, I could see them, got engagement, the kind of stats were showing you the kind of right things. I just wasn't getting MD filling in, so you got a kind of click through rate on the forums, and it was coming through, like people were clicking on the forum and then stopping at some stage. Now whether that be the submit part, because they were curious, they just didn't want to submit.
Is that a video or a picture, or what was the line?
That was a picture, but I think videos perform pretty well, and like I say, the market landscape changes, so it could be videos, it could be pictures, but I've mostly done pictures.
You got to do, like see, when you spend that much money, are you okay with that? going through your mind? Like,
Yeah.
I've just spunked away
You need to
£500 and I've got
you're
absolutely
not-
nothing for it.
You're not
Because you're
wasting
gambling
that.
thing. You're not your gambling. Your poker. You got your poker face on.
In a sense, it's like it's an investment, right? Because if I spend £1,000 a month on ads, and this isn't £1,000 a month because I've started up again, I wanted to start a little bit smaller. I think it's like 500 or 600. Start a little bit smaller, and then I'll grow up again once I know the campaign's working. But what you need to understand is, if I was paying £1,000 a month, one referral to Prime who pays £1,000 or 1% over 100k, it pays for that ad campaign. So that's paid off. Everything above that's profit. So whether it be couple referrals, whether it be a source deal or a assisted sale or whatever it may be, you're still going to make money from those ads if you can find the right exit and know you've got multiple exits, not just like buying from that one person or selling to that one person. So it's not, for me, it's not wasting money. You're going to get it back if you're running it correctly.
Okay, so you do a cracking refurb as well.
So
Where'd you get those skills from?
Well, first and foremost, it's not physically me doing it. My first peak of interest on property was actually my dad does. He still does. Had his own business when I was like 14, 15. I used to do labouring for him, and eventually I started doing like painting and taking tiles off the wall, that kind of stuff, weekends and summer holidays, and that was my first peak of interest in property. And I seen the investors coming in going, they've got nice cars, they pop in for 2 minutes and they fuck off. That's a right job actually. So I would say that's my first peak, but I never really understood. Again, I'm 14, 15, probably my phone half the time rather than doing what I need to do. But when you're just getting into the refurbs, like I said, that first one, it's just about having a good team about you as well. And
it's basically, you get your dad to do all the work then? He's doing all the hard work and you're taking the money?
He does do work for us, and he's bloody good at it. But we've got other trades as well that rely on their experience. I mean, like, I don't know why does your dad still do a lot of the work? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does most of the bathrooms.
But that must be, straight away, it's like half the battle, because your dad's not going to mess you about, hopefully. Aye,
but like, it goes back to having the right team about you as well. And again, like, it's just, when I say about when I was learning about the property, I was learning about renovations, and a mate who's a joiner, and I would go and do labouring for him, but this time I was switched on. So I was labouring for him, but I was saying, why are you doing that? Like, how much does that roughly cost? And what if you done this? How much would that be? And I'm really inquisitive about it and try to find out information of how certain things work, so that when I am organising renovations, I know what to look out for, how much things cost, and then you learn, don't you?
Even although you're not actually doing the work yourself now, you know exactly what's behind the kitchen sink and how the plumbing works and all the rest of it.
I know where to look. I've done enough. I think I looked at something. For me, it was pretty cool. I don't know why I was looking at this number. It was like over £700,000 worth of renovation I've done in the last like 2 years. And for me, coming from a non-refurb construction background, I thought that's pretty cool. And
that's a clickbait. We'll use that as
you learn like what to look out for, and you're going to get. Of course, I've made mistakes, but the biggest compliment I've had from people is just how organised I am with the renovation. So I'm just putting things from start to finish, giving them a scope of works, giving them a schedule of works, and then making sure I'm following up every week with them, giving them updates so they know exactly what's happening. The guys obviously put in the work and make the finish really good, but I'm on top of them as well to make sure like snags are done, things are getting done on time. Thick corners aren't being cut, that kind of thing. But try to save clients money at the same time. Do you
organise a lot of the materials for your clients as well, like kitchens, bathroom designs, flooring,
unless they say, I've got a spare. Sometimes I had a spare boiler. I don't know how you've got a spare boiler, but sometimes I had a spare boiler for one of the projects and fire in. Like, I know how it is. You want to save money as an investment because investors we work for.
Speak about that though, as well. The project management side. What would you say is harder, sourcing or project management, or they both come with their own sets of challenges?
I think they're both difficult for different reasons. Sourcing obviously is that kind of stress level of finding the clients, finding the deals, and everything we just spoke about. Project managing, you're dealing with trades who it wasn't my fault, it was his fault. That was his fault. And for me, I'm more of a person, I don't care whose fault it is, let's just get it fixed, and then we'll look at how we can rectify it going forward, but let's just get it fixed.
See, the excuses that you get, man, that's just, if somebody starts hitting me with excuses, the other day was, sorry, I've not been to that one yet. I mean, to be fair, they could be genuine, but they could also be bullshit, that's the thing.
You can be a bit cynical, man. I remember one of the guys phoned us on a Monday and listen, van broke down. I'm like, it was old for him yesterday. You're just rough. Just tell me you're rough. Like, I don't care. I'm human. Like, I get it. I get you went out and maybe taking it too far because your team's won and you're now hungover. Just tell me you're hungover and you can't be bored and you'll get to it tomorrow. Like, just don't lie to me.
You do get very cynical. The amount of bullshit and excuses you go for, you tend to believe not a word fucking anybody says. Like, and when Megan started working for us, like, started helping her project manage refurbs, And we took on a boy full time as a painter, and it was the usual. Oh, he's ill on a Monday, and I was like, "Pash, we've got a tenant moving in on I think Thursday, whatever it was." By the Wednesday, still wasn't in, and I was like, "We're fucking up to Aberdeen, and we're going to have to do it ourselves." She's like, "What?" We walks in there, and there's this poor guy with his head in the fucking toilet with a paintbrush trying to paint it, and I was like, and she was like, "You shouldn't have called past that, eh? You thought he was full of shit, like he wasn't ill, he was just skiving and all this." And I was like,
I think you do get a bit like kind of like, are you just trying to take the piss at me here kind of thing, and that's where you do learn to find your own team, I suppose, and choose that you can trust. But
obviously,
for me,
the
like
scale that you're going at the moment, sometimes you've got multiple projects on the go. So how do you manage that?
Most schedule works, Excel spreadsheet,
So
schedule
you're going to
works,
say
and everything's happening.
Your most number of projects?
Most of the one time is 10, and that was a fucking
10?
headache. Aye, it was a headache. But got to bear in mind, when I say 10, it's no 10 full Buna, like refurbs,
some are just
rewires, and some of them is just
carpets.
like new bathroom, kitchen, and freshen it up. Some of them is like a full, back to brick. So there's a mixture in there, but I don't tend to deviate with too much of the trade, so I'm just pretty much organising them. Like once you're done here, you're on to this one, you're on to that one, you're on to that one, and that's probably where I found myself kind of flourishing a wee bit, my organisation skills of it, and that's probably the biggest, like I say, compliment I get from people is the actual organisation to get this from start to finish has been class. Like it's been.
You give them a time scale at the start.
I'll say them will roughly take whatever it may be, say 10 to 12 weeks. I said within that there might be some things that come up that we're unaware of, plumbing issues, things go wrong as everybody knows, but always get you informed. Like if I told him, like plaster's not turned up on the Monday or the Tuesday because he's not well, the van's broke down, but a wee bit behind. Here's a schedule now works for you. It's communication.
And are you always looking to expand the trades team as well? Are you just happy with what you got, and is that working all right?
No. We tried during that period of having loads on. We tried to get a new team in. Came recommended. I thought brilliant, good price, good quality that we saw from images and stuff. And they got on. They were cracking. They got on really well. He had his own team, so I'm pretty much just managing him. And they got it all smashed out pretty well. And then the biggest tail part is when it comes to the snagging into it. How quickly they come back to fix it. Like how many snags are actually there? They're rushing through the jobs, and even after they were done, there was constant issues after it. I'm like, that is just shows
do you try and like with payment, do you try and hold back a bit of payment now at the end?
100%.
It's difficult sometimes, isn't it? Because they're so good at putting pressure on you. Like, I need paid now.
I was telling you, you're not getting paid till it's done. I was like, people pay. See, if you pay somebody, very, very hard to get them back. Even when clients come to us and we've got a renovation, I'll say like, we'll take X amount up front, then we'll take X amount at this point that we all agree in the project, we'll take some more towards the end, and we'll hold back some for snags. And that's pretty much our kind of profit margin is the snags part, because I don't want paid until everything's done and you're happy. And that kind of works for the client's point of view. They're happy everything's getting done, but then it's on us to actually go and doing it. But again, the guys that we use, they're good, and they understand that. I think we had a painting snag in one of the jobs in Hamilton. Client went round on Saturday, had a look at it, said to the painter on the Monday, and he was there Monday afternoon fixing it, and he'd already been paid. Do you know what I mean? So we understand that trust element of it, and they also know as well there's a lot of work there, so if they want to piss about, they'll get more work. We've got a good strong amount of guys getting used on it. And
now that you've got a bit of momentum going, you're full-time sourcing, project managing, like what's a kind of decent level of income for you now? Kind of what you're looking to make a month?
HMRC, you might be listening to this, mate. What are you doing?
Just for people to know, like it's taking you
£12 a year.
Take you three.
And what we did
minimum wage. What obviously it fluctuates depending on the sourcing fee and all the rest of it. But realistically, what I'm trying to aim at is people who are wanting to follow in the footsteps yourself. What could you be making?
See, kind of away from that employee kind of mindset of you're getting paid every month. That's probably a big thing you need to overcome. I'm still trying to overcome that because of a month, but I'm like, I've been paid. What's going on here? But then the next month I could get like 3 sourcing fees coming in, some project management fees coming in, some referrals coming in. I think one month I got, it's not a flex by the way, but one month I got 18k worth of fees coming in, and to me that's like half a salary. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But then the month prior I maybe didn't get nothing, the month after I maybe get nothing, so it spreads out.
How does your wife and your partner deal with that as well? Like obviously got a family.
She just knows it's just that trust element.
Cash flow.
I tell her as well, so like, I'm struggling this month, but I've got X amount coming in the next few months, and it's coming. Cash flowing it. And again, that employee thing, like even just speaking to the accountant, like stupid questions, how do I pay myself? He's like, just pay yourself and work it out. I'm like, right, okay.
So again, it is up and down, and you need to realise that to spread that out, and it's management of funds as well, isn't it, and cash flow?
Because I think like I know you're not a big fan of courses and that, right, but on that course, he does talk about like how you manage that as well. So when the money comes through, like have different bank accounts. So you're set up for VAT, you're set up for like paying tax, marketing ads, and different accounts to make sure you're not just getting money in and you're just pissing it away. You understand where's going what, cash flow and all that. So I learned that from that. Have I applied it as much as I probably should have? No, because I'm still not. I don't see myself as a business owner.
You think you've managed to?
I know I am, but I don't run it as well as I probably should have. And that's probably my weakest thing. I'm just more about get the job, get the money, get the job, get the money, and just try to move forward and never really take a step back to work on those side of things. Like my bookkeeping is fucking horrendous. I do it maybe once a year and I sit like 4 in the morning like. That was that.
Do you think you've managed to replace your old salary then?
Aye.
That's
I think
that's
in
been sorted.
I think in the first, it's weird because I started my limited company side of things before I went to the course. I was that buzzing about it, obviously, which is probably the wrong thing to do, by the way. But so my kind of end of year runs in like July time, I'm sure. So it's not like April to April. But I do remember like even just last year from July to December, I think I'd made more in that 6 months, 5 months period than I had done in my full year of a 9 to 5 salary.
And what we know the struggles of running your own business, but you know what are the benefits that you've seen now, like you know
flexibility, mate. Honestly, the biggest thing for me was
coffees at David Lloyd. I see you in there all the time, mate.
I remember me sitting. Christmas was coming up, and I was sitting going, how are we affording Christmas? And mate, I was getting emotional about it. I'm like, I've got fucking daughters, stuff to pay for, and kids and everything else. I'm like, it's going on a credit card, and this is before the course and getting involved in property. And then, like I said, my son when I was 19, still very, very naive in terms of the actual level of responsibility you have, because I'm still pretty young. But then when Ruby came along, when I was like 26, 27, that's when it really hit me. Like, shit, I've got a daughter now, and I know I had a son, but I'm like, fuck me, I've actually got a lot here to go on. And the biggest thing for me was, right, support, don't be struggling. If they want something, go and buy it. And just, I wanted to do the school runs, basically. Like, I wanted to be there, drop her off at school at 9, come back at 3. And that's probably the biggest downfall a wee bit sometimes as well, because my day stops at like 2:30 to go and get it at 3, but you're still working at night time. But for me, the biggest thing is that flexibility in time of choosing your day. There was a day during the summer, or was it December? I can't remember when. It was last year. And it was during the summer. And also she's off, my partner's term time, so she's off, and it was a beautiful day. I'm like, nah, let's just go and do something for the full day. I've got that choice to wake up and go, nah, I'm not going to go and do whatever I need to do today. I can catch up with it at night time, or I can catch up with it tomorrow, and maybe I'll pay for that later on in the week, but I'm choosing to do that with my family today. Aye. And I just go back to that point, I don't want to waste that sacrifice.
I hate doing the school run because you always get dragged in. You always get dragged into the shop. The
school's there, mate, so I'm a 2-minute walk. So I always the school run.
I always get dragged into the shop, and it's juice, crisps, sweets. Oh my god! Before you know it, it's like £6 every time, and then you're like, this is just absolutely skinning me. You look at your credit cards, you look at your bank statement, and it's just that wee shop, that nicer. What's it called? The nicer shop.
Even that kind of David Lloyd stuff, like I've got the kids memberships in there as well, just having a different environment for them to grow up in as well. Like,
you've set yourself up nicely as well, though. For I'm assuming you've now got a business in property. You're getting credible. Your connections, the team around you is getting built in. So that's going to set you up to, I'm assuming, go and build your own portfolio as well. Do you want to do?
There's always been something I said, like, can I tone my calf right into my thighs? I know, don't look it right, but I was like a fat Lionel Messi, honestly. You're not into football, so you might not get that, but and I tore my calf last year playing fives, and that was a big wake up call for me to go, shit, if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. So you need something ticking away in the background, and that's where the kind of portfolio came to mind. So I'm like, right, okay, I need to start, putting things away, look at joint ventures, look at raising finance, that kind of thing, and start building a portfolio. I don't plan on having like £100 million portfolio. It's not something to pay the bills. If shit goes wrong, I'm there. I'm saying that now, when you get maybe 4 or 5, you're going to get the bug for it. But
so where's the business headed now then? Because you've recently, did you do a rebrand there? You've broken away from, so it used to be with David Smart Improvements or whatever. Are you doing your own thing now?
Yeah, it was weird though, because that was something when I was started. So I did my first deal with David, his investor, and he had a couple of renovations on it. He goes, like, I've not got time to do these. I've organised that one really, really well. He was like, do you mind doing it? And it's one of the ones like, that's fine, it's not my focus, but it's extra income to help get me away from the 95. And eventually it kind of rolled into more like a job at times and doing my own things at the side. And then it was good. And then it kind of got to a point where he's like, well, I want to grow this now, but I need something full time and solely in that business. I I said, it's not jumping out to me like an offer I want, and that's nothing against the offer and nothing against the business. Just,
that would feel like
one thing.
That would feel like maybe you're
to me. He's come back to
somebody
me,
else,
a job, and maybe it's not what he had in line in his mind. But somebody gave me a great quote, and I don't want to rephrase it, could probably say it wrong. But basically, like if you go and choose to live somebody else's plan in their life, they've got nothing really planned for you, type thing. And for me, I had that plan to break away from 9 to 5, have everything I've got just now, and don't really want to go back to having somebody above me to go, you need to go and do this on this certain day and whatever else. But
and you've got your own clients now as well. Like
I've always had my own clients, that's the thing.
Aye.
It's just we put it under that one umbrella for ease and marketing and branding and everything else. And like I say, he does need somebody in that position full time to help grow that, and I hope he does grow it massively, and I think he's got something now coming in to do it, and I'll help with that transition. But for me, I still want to do one thing and potentially grow myself as well, because I don't think I've really ran with it as much as I possibly could have just now as well. And I do have a good...
I told you this like 2 years ago, mate.
I know.
And David Lloyd, having a coffee there, and I says, mate, go yourself, do your own thing.
I know. So
see, I'm glad to see you've taken my advice.
So I've had plenty of people reach out to say that they do it, because bear in mind, whenever the lead comes through anyway, in the renovation side, like I was the one doing from the start to finish. I mean, with the team and organising it. So I know I've got that capability. It's just not a business I want to grow, but I do project manage for my clients. I'll project manage for other clients as well, and for people that buy their own and kind of asked doing the renovation essentially. So
just continue on just doing the portfolio building stuff.
Yep. For me,
the only thing you're missing now is the letting agency.
So I know, not yet. So I'll buy yours eventually, right? But for me, it's just growing that. You've got that trading income still coming. That obviously can provide and help set up other things as well. Grow a portfolio this year. I want to get involved in more personal projects as well, so I've got a couple of people on board for like JVs for flips, assisted sales, that kind of thing, and get right above that. We've got 3 in discussion about assisted sales and stuff as well. The
great thing is you've built up that credibility now over 3 years of posting on social media, doing it for other people. You now can become that guy to do your own deals.
Your clients are there, they've built up trust with you.
100%.
They're opening the door saying, well, I'm not going to sell you this one. I want it as a JV in this one.
Yeah, 100%. And the social media thing's a big thing as well. I know we're kind of short on time, but the social media thing's massive. If you're
advice for that,
just said there, but the social media, that was the biggest thing that held me back, is what are people going to think about me on social media? Just fucking put your face on social media and go on with it.
I mean, we were all uncomfortable at the start. Me, everybody else.
You see, the biggest sales thing, because we used to do like sales recording and listen back and coach and everything else. I hate the sound of my voice. Go over it. It's your voice. How I'm speaking just now is my voice. I probably won't watch this back because I don't want to see how I sound. But it's my own voice. I mean, it's no changed just by going on a recording. So people hear you every day speaking. Just go on with it. Put yourself on camera. Put yourself out there. Make a tight yourself and just learn from it.
Aye, you're good at that as well.
Aye.
Right, that's been brilliant, Sean. Love the chat. Love the honesty, transparency. You've given loads of value basically about how you do stuff as well. So I think the listeners, anybody's looking to get set out in sourcing and project management will get a lot of value for this. Next lineup is the Scottish Property Podcast Networking Meet at the Village Hotel. So we'll get you lined up for that as well.
Definitely, mate.
Thank you so much.
Good guys, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot for joining us, mate.